you really look at the body of work and you look at the Southeastern Conference and what we have to go through every week, you look at the non-conference schedule we play to go to Ohio State in week 1 and lose by 7 when we outgained them by nearly 200 yards. We got a really good football team, and it would be a disservice to our sport if this team's not a playoff team.
Good stuff there, Coach. Yeah, after a semester of skipping a few assignments and or showing up hungover for the midterm exam, college teams are now trying to cram themselves into the playoff. And I get it. And having been there myself, I respect it. Not the playoff part. Everything else, though. Now, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this before, but I've never been nominated for an Oscar. So I guess I'll take the word of those who have when they say it's an honor just to be nominated. Okay, that's a lie. I'm not going to take their word for it. Because sure, it's exciting to get nominated, but it's still got to be a way bigger bummer when in the big moment they don't call your name. A bunch of years ago, one of the state lotteries was up to $1 billion or whatever. So I went out and bought a ticket, and then a few hours later, I found out I didn't win, which was emotionally inconvenient because I'd already made plans for that loot. Listen, a few of my all-time favorite seasons as a fan were about this very moment, trying to make it to January, obsessing over the standings, doing the math on the tiebreakers and all that. Back to the wall, no one believes in us, all that crap. Just as long as you don't start spending that loot and thinking your team might go to the Super Bowl. You see, your team is Rocky Balboa. Just getting to fight Apollo Creed is the win, even though you're not going to beat him. And that's how the NFL playoffs work. Might hit your ear funny, but at the moment, the 1-seed Bears should be the favorite to go to the Super Bowl. Whether they're the NFC's actual best team is relevant, but getting to play one less game is relevantер. I don't know what the word is. Like I said, I skipped school. Thanks to league-wide mediocrity. Parity. Needing your team's coin to only come up heads twice instead of 3 times is huge. If you had to go undefeated against the blackjack dealer or else lose your hand, you'd probably want to only have to play 2 hands of 21, not 3, right? From 1990 to 2019, the 6-team playoff era, teams with a bye got to the Super Bowl 75-80% of the time. And of course, it's come down since the playoffs expanded to 2020, went up to a 7th game, but went down to just 1 team getting a bye. But still, 5 out of those 10 teams got to the Super Bowl. I might have skipped math class, but even I know that's 1/2. Better odds even than a hand of blackjack. During the same stretch, the 7 seeds won 1 total game. By the way, that 1 win was the one that convinced everybody Jordan Love was good enough to go to a Super Bowl. And I happen to agree. But with the Bears at number 1, how those 2 Green Bay-Chicago games shake out could determine who barely sneaks into the postseason and who gets the Super Bowl trip. And the winner is not you, 7 seed. Let's start the show. Yes, hi and hello, my fellow football Americans. We've got Geoff Schwartz and Jonathan Zaslow coming up to help try and make sense of a wacky and extended football weekend. Welcome to Football America, presented as ever by our pals over there at DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours, and as we do at the top of every episode, we honor the player or players who wore the jersey number associated with the episode. Today is episode number 30, so let's jump into it. No Gino Fuentes. He's off traveling the Big Blue Marble. Mike Fuentes has the con, and he alone has the con. Let's start with you. How was Thanksgiving, and more importantly, who's the greatest number 30 in the history of people, Mike?
In the history of people, I would probably say Steph Curry. Probably borderline greatest point guard of all time. Definitely the best shooting point guard of all time. I don't think that can be argued. So that would be my number 30.
That's a strong number across the 4 major sports. In fact, let's bring him in right now to see if he has any thoughts here. Terrell Davis, who got justice and went into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, tops my list among NFL players. But let's say hello to our guy. You listen to him on the Le Batard Show. He's the breakout star of 2025 there. Also, Zaslow Show 2.0 rolls on. Find it on the YouTube page associated with the Dan Le Batard universe. And also, his road trip continues into the SEC Championship this weekend. It's our guy, Jonathan Zaslow. Zaz, how are you, pal?
Good, Dave. How are you? Good to see you.
A pleasure. A pleasure as always. And I was watching you on Monday on Le Batard as you guys were trying to chop up who the 12 teams are in the college football playoff. Obviously, you have your eye trained there. But right now, we're talking about the greatest number 30 in the history of sports. You heard where we are. Want to throw any more in there?
Yeah, I hate to say one that's already been said, but I don't know how we don't go Steph Curry. Steph Curry.
I literally just said that. So
that's what
Steve
I just said. I don't want to say the same as others, but I have to say, you Steve Martin yourself
Steve Martin
there. All right, you Steve Martin yourself. So I go Steph Curry. I know you got some hockey ones that are good, right?
Well, Amon Green, of course. Oh, you know what? This may be the first athlete who has appeared on Football America to now appear on our list of the greatest guy to wear that uniform number. Todd Gurley was a star, kind of like Terrell Davis, in fact, cut short by knee stuff, otherwise probably a Hall of Famer himself. Nolan Ryan. This is a good list across, like I say, the four major American sports. It's the home of great Hall of Fame level goaltenders, Marty Brodeur and Hank Lundqvist and Kelly Rudy, at least when he was with the Islanders. I think he changed it once he got to the Kings. And Eddie the Eagle Belfour, who won a Stanley Cup.
Ed Belfour.
His came with Dallas, yes. So that's a pretty strong list.
Ed Belfour ended his career with the Panthers. Did you know that?
No, I don't believe that. That happens a lot in hockey. Eddie Belfour was a Florida Panther, you claim.
That's right.
Okay.
In the 2000s, he played his final year of his career with the Panthers, which back then, before they were Stanley Cup champions, players used to go play for the Panthers their final year and then retire.
I'm trying to think what the Florida-based team that had the strongest position group of all time might be. Thanks to all of you who dropped us a line on last Friday's episode. Jeremy Taché jumped in. A great conversation. We analyzed Zaz, and anyone within the sound of my voice who missed the Friday episode, we encourage you, nay, demand that you go back and check it out. It was a good one. Chef Josh Capon jumped in, and we ranked all meats. And that was a good time. And also, we updated my ongoing list of the best position groups by franchise of all time. If you missed it, spoiler alert, LA Dodgers starting pitchers edged out Pittsburgh Penguins center icemen and LA Lakers centers. If you want to include any, Zaz, you're more than welcome to. Otherwise, we can jump right into...
That's pretty good right there. I mean, I'd like a second to think on it, but I like that topic. That's very good.
I have a nominee for the best position group from a Florida team, definitely in football. Just based on Tom Brady, you got to go with the Buccaneers, right? Just based off Tom Brady, right? And then you got like other guys that were pretty decent. You know?
No,
why not?
Don't be a bum.
For football, yeah.
Kind of good, though. What you could do is defensive linemen for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Simeon Rice, along with Warren Sapp and Kalijah Cansey and Vita Vea and of course Gerald McCoy, another guest of this show. So that's a good one. Now we'll analyze that some more. Unfair to throw that at you, Zaz, last second here. I'll give you some time to meditate on it, and maybe we can revisit it on your next visit. We always enjoy when Zaz pays a visit here. Now it's time to jump into this week's jerk list. Zaz knows what's going on here. Mike Fuentes has the Han Solo Edition blaster at his side. He's ready to fire away when we call for it. What we're going to do is, or Mike is, and I think Soup Campbell as well, is going to read a statement, and then Zaz and I will determine whether or not it's a perfectly rational thing to say in the here and now, or if it's a knee-jerk reaction. We might also work in some other garden variety jerks who walk in our midst each and every day. Take it away, Mike Fuentes.
All right, first on the list here, Lane Kiffin should have been able to leave for LSU and also keep coaching Ole Miss.
Zaz, take it away.
Oh, that's a jerk. Absolutely not should he have been allowed to do that. And you know, it's rich that Lane Kiffin is trying to blame it on the AD or the chancellor. They wouldn't let him. And then you have people out there like Nick Saban, who we know holds water for Lane Kiffin. They're tight, all right? You got people like Nick Saban saying college football's got a scheduling problem. There's no scheduling problem. If a coach decides he wants to coach another team, then he's coaching another team. Like you don't get to sign to coach another team, but say, hey, I'm going to stay and still coach this one for possibly up to 2 more months. So no, that's a jerk right there. This is on Lane Kiffin. He wanted to go coach somewhere else. So no, you don't get there and still coach Ole Miss. You got to get out of here, man.
Of course. And so be it if that's your choice, Lane. Yeah. It's kind of like if Chaz Sheen Denise Richards is like, we got to split. I can't take any more of this. And then Chaz Sheen goes to the kids and says, like, nothing I could do. It's your mom's fault. Like, well, Chaz, it was your behavior that probably led to the demise of things, too. Lane Kiffin now pointing at the AD and the Ole Miss program to see if the fan base will ride with him for all of time as he bails on them in a special season in which they might really have a shot to win the whole thing. In fact, that's a good question that I'll throw at you real quick, Zaz. If it's not Ohio State, who is going to win the national championship this year?
Yeah, Ole Miss has a real shot. But I'll tell you.
Not anymore. I don't think they do, right?
No, not anymore. But they had a real shot. Ohio State, Indiana, those are obviously the top two. I'll tell you, I've been very high on Alabama all year. I mean, I know the loss a couple weeks ago, and obviously you have the loss at week number 1. But if Alabama goes to Atlanta this weekend, they beat Georgia, beat Georgia again, and win the SEC championship, they could get a top 4 spot, which would give them a bye. I think Alabama can absolutely win the national championship.
That's kind of bold, as a matter of fact.
I think so.
I think that's borderline bold. And the big question is, and I know this would never happen in the reality that we live in which the SEC is king, but if Bama beats Georgia twice, what's the justification for the Bulldogs to still be among the 12 best teams? They've already lost head-to-head twice, and the second one would be a regional playoff game, essentially, against Bama. They would have no claim to being like, yeah, well, obviously we can win this whole thing as long as we avoid the team that's already shown twice now that they're better than us.
Well, they won't be a top 4 team, obviously, if Georgia were to lose the SEC championship, but I don't think that they would drop too far out of the top 4. So they would host a home playoff game in the first round of the playoffs, because the reality of it is they're telling you they're the only team in the nation that's proven they can beat Georgia is Alabama. It's just one team.
Fair.
So if there's only one team that can beat you, I think you're a playoff team.
Well, by that logic, then, BYU with another loss to Texas Tech should have no claim to being ahead of Miami or Notre Dame or
BYU will not. Unless BYU wins the Big 12 championship game this weekend, they're not getting in. Matter of fact, I think Miami's going to jump BYU tomorrow night in the rankings.
They might, but if BYU does beat Texas Tech, that does muck things up for these teams trying to scratch their way in at the last hour here. All right, Soup, what's next?
Well, the real problem with the SEC, too much maroon.
That's true. As someone who has a sartorial eye, along with our guy Mike Ryan, and we do drip drill periodically here on the show. Yeah. It's a real eyesore. I know everybody likes to stare at the SEC, Zaz, but just to color this one in a little bit for you, I don't know if you've observed this. You're a man of high style as well, obviously, but think of the plague of maroon across the Southeastern football.
So there's Oklahoma,
right?
There's Ole Miss, there's Alabama, South Carolina got a little bit of maroon.
I mean, it's all variations. A&M, and that game, the one that really cut it for me, Bama v. Oklahoma. It was a scrimmage out there. It was awful to look at. Not Ole Miss, but Mississippi State is in there, and Arkansas. I mean, they all basically have the same uniforms. Where's the creativity? Someone step in here. If the fruit candy world could put their heads together, however many decades ago they did this, and said, like, we have too much red. There's cherry, there's strawberry, there's watermelon, there's raspberry. Somebody's got to take the short straw. And I don't know if they volunteered or otherwise, but the raspberry magically became a blue raspberry. Blue. When you order your slush or otherwise, it comes out blue. There's no blue raspberry in nature. But they did the right thing. Now someone in the SEC has to follow suit. How say you?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Let's mix it up a little bit. Yeah, I'm with you.
Good.
It's a lot.
Good. Meantime,
So
SEC,
the funniest part about when researching this, they say, "Oh, we're not maroon. Alabama, we're crimson. Arkansas, we're cardinal red.
Go work
Mississippi
at J.
State,
Crew.
we are
Everybody does
maroon.
that. Everybody
South
does that,
Carolina, we're garnet.
it's a Merlot.
And then
It's not. No.
Texas A&M is maroon. It's just own it. Just own the maroon.
Please
own the maroon.
You know what? Next. I want to tackle the wine world. It's red wine. Let's stop with all the fancy pants stuff. Mike Fuentes next.
Hate to say it, but my Buccaneers are broken, and the Carolina Panthers will win the NFC South.
Zaz.
I said it today on the Le Batard show. The Panthers are in the mix. I mean, they're right there. What are we talking? Just one game back. Now, the Panthers are a weird team because on any given week, they can get the crap kicked out of them, or they can get a great win, like you just saw yesterday. But Bryce Young has been very good these last couple of weeks. Ted McMillan is a big-time receiver. The Panthers, they could host a playoff game.
Very weird to be saying this about a team that got blanked by the Atlanta Falcons.
That's right.
30-0. It's such a weird team.
That's right.
Well, and look putrid, in my opinion, at least. The defense wasn't terrible against the Niners just a little more than a week ago. But what it is, again, I know I'm a broken record about it, is the plague of parity. I know that this is what Goodell wants, but I don't want it as a fan. I find it unsatisfying, these results that were... The Panthers just kind of beat up on the Rams on Sunday, who, before that game, I think we had all gotten kind of comfy with the fact they're probably going to end up being the NFC 1 seed. Let me ask it this way to you, and fellas weigh in here, but Zaz, I'll start with you. When I say I can't believe where that team is in the standings, who am I talking about?
Ooh, are you talking about Dallas?
That's a good... Well, I guess the answer is there is a list of about a dozen teams that would satisfy...
I got mine. I got mine for sure.
Go ahead.
Jacksonville Jaguars. I have no idea how they're first place in the AFC South. I don't think that team is good.
I would say that about Houston, too. Are you talking about Houston?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that race is, we again talk about getting comfy. I picked the Colts to win the AFC South before the season, and I patted myself on the back for at least a couple of months, but I don't think that's going to happen anymore. I think it's now a race between the Texans and Jags, and I'll take the Jags on the strength of the easy schedule they have the rest of the way. I pointed at it a couple of weeks ago. I think that's a good call. I'm stunned by the Vikings. I thought KOC was bulletproof in terms of whatever QB he has, he's going to make it work. And now it begs a great what if that we'll do once the regular season fully wraps itself up, which is one of these two. They stick with Sam Darnold, or KOC listens to Aaron Rodgers saying, I should be your guy. What would have happened if Aaron Rodgers had been the Vikings quarterback instead of wherever he wound up? I'm not sure. I'm also stunned, and this is influenced by Mike Fuentes, because he texts just about every week to remind that he's been saying this all season. Maybe the Ravens just aren't that good. It was easy to say, well, Lamar's out and Roquan Smith is out and so on and so forth. But now what's the excuse? They're 500. I think they're going to end up winning the AFC North probably, but that's because it's garbage. On the other hand, maybe the Bungles are going to end up getting this thing.
Dave, I don't think they're winning the AFC North. I think the Bengals are going to win it. I think the Bengals are going to win. I do. Bengals, first of all, the Bengals and Ravens still play one more time, and the Bengals already have the first game. So if the Bengals win that one, you pick up a game there, and you own the tiebreak. The Bengals' remaining schedule is very easy. They really only have one tough game left, and it's next week against Buffalo. Their final 4 games, very easy. They can win them all, including one against the Ravens. The Ravens' remaining schedule, you're talking Steelers. We know that's a tough game always, and you got the Bengals game. Then they have the Patriots, at the Packers, and then at the Steelers the final week of the season. Bengals, very easy remaining schedule. Ravens, pretty tough.
Here's the thing also to circle, and it references back, I guess, a little bit what I said at the top. What matters now is that other teams that are also fighting for playoff seeding or to just get into it. The Bills are doing that. The question I asked a couple minutes ago, are you surprised by where they are? I don't know that anybody saw the Patriots doing what they've done, through 12 weeks, and we'll see what happens on Monday night at the time of this recording, how that plays out. But either way, the Bills kind of scuffling along, and it's easy to look at the final score from Pittsburgh on Sunday.
Yeah.
But that wasn't a great performance by them. It was just a stinker by the home team.
Right.
The Bills really have a chance of missing the postseason. They are going to show up for that game, but after that, you're right. It should be a breeze for the Bengals. I wonder if it does come down for Cincy rooting for a split between Baltimore and Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I think Baltimore's probably going to sweep that one. I disagree that it's going to be a good game this year. That the Steelers are lost at sea.
I think the Bengals got a good shot, though, Dave. I do. It's unlikely.
I think you're right.
I think they got a shot.
And by the way, the defense isn't terrible either. I don't know how of all the surprises, how did that defense kind of turn it around to be vaguely respectable? I don't know. Either way, you're a jerk. Next up. Was anybody a jerk there? I don't know if there was. I saw Mike Fuentes anxious to
Get the blaster.
Get the blaster go off.
Yeah, there you go.
Blaster. Get a little music on there. So here's my take. Every time you watch the Lions, you think to yourself, maybe it was Ben Johnson the whole time.
Take it away, Zaz. This one makes me angry.
Well, I think this is obviously an incredibly tough division, all right? And if you would ask me, can you believe the spot that team is in, the Lions are certainly one of those as well, because we would all have thought that they're going to win that division. Instead, they're third, and they're right now on the outside looking in. I don't know if I'm going to go as far as saying Ben Johnson is the reason, but I will say Dan Campbell, these last 3 weeks since he took over play calling duties, I mean, that first week, everyone's fawning over it. It ain't been so hot the last couple. Come on, let's be honest here.
I hear you. The reason I'm cross is because Soup needed the evidence on the field. I've been saying it for 3 months now, man. I've been telling you Ben Johnson is going to turn them around, and the Lions are going to slowly but surely decline. In fact, it begs this question. Are both last year's number 1 seeds going to miss the playoffs this year, the Lions and the Chiefs?
Ooh. I go yes on the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are done. I mean, the Chiefs are a game up on the Dolphins. Come on. And the Eagles, I think, still find a way in. But, man, they're only one up in the loss column in the division on Dallas. And they still play one more time. I think the Eagles get in. I think the Chiefs are done.
I wonder about my guy Kevin Hench said a month ago that the tie between the Packers and Cowboys is going to keep them both out. I think it's the other way. I think the tie is going to get them both into the playoffs. Mike Fuentes, you said earlier this morning when we were going back and forth on text, I said, I think the Dolphins might have a better shot at the playoffs than the Steelers do at this point, and I really do mean that. They've got a breezy ride for the most part the rest of the way, including a visit to Pittsburgh, which I think a lot of Steelers fans checked off as a win a month ago. I think there is no certainty now. You spun off a good question. Throw it at Zaz here.
I did? Oh, okay. I don't know what it is now. I didn't know if you wanted me to go with it because it was a little vulgar. Okay.
You don't have to ask it now.
I'm gonna modify the question.
I can handle vulgarities.
No. I'm gonna modify the question.
What?
Okay. Drive for your life right now. Tua or Aaron Rodgers?
Oh, Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers?
Come on.
Whoa.
I think you have such
terrible.
You have such a bad taste in your mouth from yesterday's game that you don't.
Mean, should it be a good taste?
No, they were awful. They were so bad. The highlight is Ryan Fitzpatrick's pick 2. Not Ryan Fitzpatrick. Minka Fitzpatrick.
That play was exciting. That was the best play of the season for the Dolphins. That was exciting stuff.
Minka Fitzpatrick running down the sideline.
I mean, Dave, you don't see that very often. Like, every now and then, a guy will get an interception on the 2-point conversion, and he starts running like, oh, this could be 2 points the other way. He actually did it.
I wonder, too, I was thinking, is that going to cost them the game? And you can kind of think that if you're just playing for a field goal, if you're the Saints, who cares about those 2 bum teams? Let's not indulge
Well, let's be honest. That pick 2 almost mattered because they were up 4 at that point.
I just said it, Dave.
Yeah. You're right, Dave.
What's with Mike Fuentes?
But you know what?
Today? You know what? No. Put the blaster on yourself.
You know what it is? That's fine. But I'm going to say this. The most surprising thing about Ben Johnson, Danny, throw up the picture for me. Dude, Ben Johnson, let me tell you, this guy's ripped, all right? Ben Johnson, no shirt on. I'm in on that.
Oh, that's another thing he and I have in common.
Yeah, looks just like his ass. Yeah, look at that.
You know about Thai food on Thanksgiving, Zaz?
Of course, I love Thai food.
You do, but on Thanksgiving, would you sign off on that?
I feel like Thai food, especially because I come from the Jewish heritage, that's more of a Christmas Day thing. Mm-hmm. So I've never done the Thai food on Thanksgiving.
One more. Real quick, we had a whole back and forth about Mike Fuentes replacing turkey with whatever his favorite meat was. That ship has sailed now. We'll revisit that in a year. Meantime, just weigh in on this one as a college football guy. Ohio State running back, Lamar, nickname Bo Jackson. Take it away.
Oh, I don't like that. Come on.
No.
That's not Bo Jackson.
Disrespectful. Yeah.
Everybody knows there's one Bo Jackson.
Bo knows.
No, why is his nickname Bo? Just because his last name's
name-
Jackson.
I don't know, but you're already your name Lamar
like it.
Jackson. You don't get to gild the lily with another football legend. This is way too far. What?
Got to get Dave to check his
that?
tone. Check his tone every now and then, because check your tone, Dave. That's crazy. A little too excited.
Well, now Lamar, Bo
Levels are dry.
Jackson, and his supporter Mike Fuentes are jerks. Go ahead.
You're a jerk.
There you go. Hey Zaz, what a great time. Be safe at the big championship game.
Yes.
I think that this is sneaky. It's very sad when college football's regular season ends, but I think that I was kind of against conference championships, but applying the philosophy of more football is more football. I kind of think this is a nice little weekend that has emerged over the last 20 or so years for the sports fan. How say you?
Oh, conference championship weekend, so
Yeah.
good. And I certainly don't buy into the whole it means less now because you have the playoffs overall. No, I think there's still a lot that can wind up happening. There's still bids that are up for grabs. I'm at the SEC championship in Atlanta this weekend with ESPN Radio. I'm super pumped. Yeah, it's going to be a great game, Georgia and Alabama. So I'm still way into it. It's a great weekend of games.
You have definitely made the college football season way more enjoyable for me as somebody who's found himself in the car on some Saturdays driving
Nice.
around, hearing you do your work and getting to watch the clips on social media and otherwise. You're the top, Zaz. Keep on doing the good stuff over there on the Le Batard Show and Zaslow Show 2.0.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it, man.
All right, from one grand guest to another, he's the host of Geoff Schwartz is Smarter Than You. You watch him on Bear Bets every week as well over there on Fox, and you get to hear him here every week with his points per game, making key points about what we just saw from the past football weekend. It's our guy, Geoff Schwartz. What's the poop, fella? How are you?
I am good. My Thanksgiving turkey this year, Dave, delicious.
Yeah? Was it good? Mine too.
I hope Mike's tacos were equally as good as my turkey.
They were incredible. Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
Did you really end up doing that?
No.
I mean, for all the talk, did you really end up not having a turkey, Mike?
No, my family is a prisoner of tradition, and I had to sit there and suck down dry bird, and it was just terrible. But it was fine. It was fine. I had my one plate. I took pictures of it, and we moved on. I do regret not getting enough ham, but I wanted to. I'm a sides guy when it comes to Thanksgiving, so I loaded up the stuffing, the potatoes, and I had a blast with that stuff.
Well, good. See, I'm glad for one more year the roots sank a little bit deeper. By the time you're my age, you're going to be like, obviously it's turkey. What are we talking about? All right, let's talk about this. Here's something that Mike Fuentes and I park our cars in the same garage on, Geoff Schwartz. And I saw you on Sunday once again lamenting that you gambled on pro football. That's on you. It's a parity league. It's a coin flip league week to week. One thing that's for sure is double-digit favorites are bad bets in pro football, and they proved it again. And now the dogs who got double-digit points are now 9-8 on the season. How say you?
Yeah, I mean, the Rams coming here to town and losing the Panthers, I mean, that was rather shocking. Good for the Panthers and good validating win for them. But Seattle did blow out the Vikings with good news, though. Mahomes' title is safe. Brosmer's not going to take it. There's no Mahomes and Brosmer, very, very clearly there. But I just think that this league every week is dumb to wager on. I don't know how to put it. There's no, like, for example, Tennessee played 3 competitive games in a row where they looked like they had turned the corner. In comes turnover-prone Jacksonville. Blowout, complete blowout, like not even close from start to finish. The Browns were semi-competitive, and they look like they didn't even want to win that game at all. It's just who knows in any given week, and that's why the NFL, I think, is king, right, Dave? Is that you have these games where you're just so certain something's going to happen, and it just doesn't happen that way, and then the next week it goes back to not happening in the other direction. So that's what makes it so difficult, but also very fun to watch.
I mean, I know I'm a broken record on it, but I don't love the mediocrity. I like some Titanic teams that show it week in and week out. I find it unsatisfying to look at when you have no idea what's going to happen. That team just killed that team. That means that they're the best in the league. Oh, they lost to the Carolina Panthers? Sheesh.
I mean, I feel like some things are known, like I know that Arthur Smith likes motioning offensive linemen across the formation on one place. Like I know that's known. That's known. There are known quantities, Dave, every now and then.
Okay, let's do this, and then we'll talk about your Chiefs and what happened and how much they spoiled your Thanksgiving. Brother Mitchell was there beside you, right? So that must have been doubly sad to watch that game together.
I mean, we can do it now, I guess, but the Chiefs just aren't good enough. We've been over this many times this season, Dave. It's the same thing, right? It's that they don't win those 4 to 7 plays in the fourth quarter. They used to win. They used to win those plays. They don't win. There's many reasons for that now, right? Rashee Rice drops a pass on third down. Not good. Not good, right? The defense, Mahomes leads a fourth quarter comeback, right? He's done it 3 times in the last 8 games. They've lost all 3 of those games, correct? It took Tom Brady 209 starts for that to happen a third time. So they lead the Chiefs back. The Chiefs had no business winning that game. They're up 21-20. Cowboys go down and score immediately, Dave. They score again. Like, the Chiefs just aren't complimentary right now. And that's what's leading to their losses. You have to lose in close games. That's the NFL. You're going to play a close game. And maybe you call it regression from last year, but the team, the offense is better, but they're like sort of just 10% worse everywhere else. The play calling's not as good. They can't rush the passer. Like, all these things are adding up, but they're just not winning the big moments, and they're not making the playoffs. I told you this 2 weeks ago, and I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I think it's a really tough path moving forward. They're playing Houston this coming Sunday with potentially down 3 offensive linemen. Gotta be
I mean, they're cooked if they lose that one officially, right?
Unless. So they need Jacksonville to win the division. That would help because they have the tiebreaker against the Colts.
Right.
But yeah, if they lose that game, they're looking at what the best they can get is 10-7, and that. And
well,
Houston,
the head-to-heads don't favor them against
Correct.
Buffalo, and it wouldn't against Texans, given a loss next week, and Jacksonville.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, they have to win. Yes.
Well, my heart went out to you because I knew your brother was with you.
It's more of those things where it's like you can see the good they have in them. And that might make it worse, that you can actually see there's good football in them, and they're not doing the things they've done for so many years. But also, they've won 3 Super Bowls and played in 8 straight AFC Championship games. So at some point, it's like it's not going to work anymore. And this is that season.
Well, I look forward to talking with you, I guess, at a later date about what fixes await them this offseason. Meantime, let's say they do sneak in as the 7th seed. Do they want the Broncos first? I mean, is that who they hope to catch? They hope they win the wild card. Same goes for Buffalo. Is their ideal team the number? If let's say the Patriots are the number 1 or probably 2 seed, is that the preferred team to see? The one you're most familiar with?
Oh, I'd rather play the Patriots than the Broncos.
Oh, just based on matchup.
Yeah, the Broncos have a really, really good defense. And like they have a lot of good weapons on the edge. It's like the Broncos to me all come down to Bo Nix. Like, can you just get a little bit better Bo Nix in the postseason? Like just a little something. And the Broncos went to the postseason last season. They lost, but they have the experience of at least being there. New England doesn't. This team has not been in the postseason, Dave, and they're going to host the Chiefs. So I think that's the matchup I would want if I was Kansas City. But who knows what ends up happening. And the thing about Kansas City that makes it so interesting is that I don't think they're a playoff team, but if they do get in, that means they've either won 6 in a row or 5 of the last 6. I mean, no, it'd be 5 in a row or 4 of the last 5. And that probably means they're playing good football. Like, they actually would be a much better team if they actually get in the postseason than they are right now. But nothing has shown me through 11 games they're going to get to this point, 12 games, and be good the last 5 games of the season, if that makes sense. So, if the Chiefs get in, I take them to the Super Bowl. I take them to get back to the Super Bowl, but I don't think they're going to get in.
Boy, that's really interesting. And again, the thing that we should be more fascinated than we collectively are by the Patriots and Broncos. Instead, we're obsessing about the heavyweight teams of the last half decade. We really could, if Pittsburgh or Cincy could overcome the Bengals, the Ravens, the Bills, Chiefs. It would be impossible to do the math in August that the Bills, Ravens, and Chiefs could all miss the AFC playoffs. And it's plausible, except for the fact that the Steelers are going to lose both of those games to the Ravens. And that brings me to this very sad team. Mike Tomlin, no one has, it's not just some sort of empty cynicism out of your old pal Dave. I have sang songs about Mike Tomlin's never having a losing season and how remarkable that is, and the age of free agency, everything else, it's time for him to move on. How say you?
I love the tweet you put out with like the 8 things that they did in the offseason that all were wrong. But
for the record, I'm patting myself on the back with that. It gives me no pleasure, by the way, as I say. I know people are like, you like to play. I mean, yeah, I do like to be right, but I like the Steelers being relevant even more, and so this makes me very sad. But I called all of these things in springtime, Geoff Schwartz.
It's like me. Like, I don't want the Chiefs to miss the playoffs, but I think they're going to. Like, that's my realistic thought about it. I look, the Steelers, man, it's just whatever Tomlin magic he had, it's not there anymore, right? Like the game, I don't think the game has passed him up, but the personnel is not great and they're not playing well. You have not figured out quarterback for years now. You haven't figured out offensive line. You have some good pieces, but haven't figured out a whole. Don't have enough weapons. You haven't. Aaron Rodgers does nothing. It's just not good. It's not good enough. It's just not good enough. And it feels very much like the end of an era there. The end of like what Andy Reid just wasn't enough. It just was over in Philly. And it feels like it's over with Mike Tomlin. Are they going to do it and get rid of him? I don't know. I don't know why you wouldn't. But it feels like it's run its course. Won a Super Bowl. He's been good for so many years. It does feel like this era now, Pittsburgh Steelers football is over, and they need to find someone else.
Well, Mike Fuentes gets very upset when I talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers because he thinks I'm too Pittsburgh-centric. But, of course, they are one of the teams of pro football, and so we're going to talk about them, just as I talk about America's alleged team, Dallas Cowboys. Whether or not you like it, them being good makes pro football more engaging, and I thought that win was great on Thanksgiving for the rest of the ride home, and it also gave me another chance, I guess my 12th time over this season, to let everybody in Pittsburgh know you shouldn't have traded away George Pickens. Yeah. The thing about the Pickens thing is like, well, he was incorrigible. He was a bad seed. Yeah, but isn't Mike Tomlin's whole thing being able to manage wild personalities? So that doesn't align. 1. 2, will it happen? I don't know. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I think Art 2, is, people keep saying, like, he doesn't want to disrupt the streak, the 50-year-long streak of Chaz Noll to Cowher to Mike Tomlin. True, but I think it's the other side that he fears. He doesn't want to fire Mike Tomlin, who's relatively successful still. I mean, they're 500. They're not, 1 in whatever. What he doesn't want is to be responsible for replacing Mike Tomlin with a Freddie Kitchens level hire and then having to fire that guy, because that would point at greater ineptitude. How say you?
So he's worried about the hire he's going to make.
I think so. I don't know. Then why wouldn't you fire him otherwise?
Who would be your first choice?
I mean, Ben Johnson, who I advocated for last autumn.
Unfortunately, that's not going to happen. So,
but when they on purpose chased Russell Wilson last March or April or whatever, I said, that's it. Pull the plug. That is so senseless. The only pro football team out there who thinks this guy is a difference maker still is Mike Tomlin. Well, then he doesn't know what he's talking about, and it's time for him to move on. You need to reboot this thing. They didn't do that, and people say, well, they would never do that. They would never pay him what he wants, and Ben Johnson would never go there because he wanted a young QB. If the Pittsburgh Steelers offered him a job, and the Chicago Bears, who fire head coaches every 2.5 years, versus the Steelers, who fire them every 2.5 decades, if you want job security and you're a young guy, which choice do you think you're going to take? Well, Caleb Williams is too good to pass up on. I don't know. There are other quarterbacks in the draft, and they'll go get one of those, and then he can coach that guy up. So that makes no sense. But the thing, speaking of Ben Johnson, that really has jumped out at me the last handful of weeks and months is I detect damning with faint praise from his peer group, starting off with Ben Johnson in advance of the Bears-Steelers game. Take a listen to what Ben Johnson said and tell me if you can hear the actual compliment here.
He sets the bar very high, and nothing but respect for him, how he goes about his business. He holds his players accountable, and he just keeps it real and authentic at all times. So the players respect that.
Now, Mike, do me a favor. Let's hear from Sean McVay and his thoughts on somebody who has spent some time up close to Mike Tomlin. Here's his big compliment for one of the great head coaches of the 21st century.
The one thing is you can see how damn smart he is. You know, you talk about emotional intelligence and a guy that just has a command for the room, and he says things where you're just like, how the hell did he think of that? You know, excuses are tools of the incompetent, you know, but his timing and his wit, you know, is just unparalleled.
You gotta, you know, right?
So nothing about actual football.
No, it has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah, just so those are comments about Mike Tomlin.
Yes, that's Ben Johnson and Sean McVay, two of the now coaches. I think we would all point to and say, "Oh yeah, well, there's
nothing about football in those answers. It's all about like motivation and like just coaching platitudes."
And by the way, the players don't play hard for him. If anybody has noticed, and a lot of guys want to get away from him.
The Cam Heyward stuff is weird. Like Josh Allen, didn't he need him that hard? Like what did he knee him? Same Cam Heyward who like punched Herbert in the stomach this season, right? Same guy. Was that this year or last year? That's when things are going out of control. Like a respected veteran like that is like just sort of like calling out the other quarterback for kneeing him. You played the NFL for 17 years. You think that the first time you ever been kneed by anybody in a pile? That's when you know things are going sideways, right? When like that's sort of like that locker room stuff sort of bubbles up.
If you were in a band, like a 4-piece classical music band, and you were on a ship that was sinking, let's say, when did the Titanic sink? 1912, 1920,
yes,
whatever.
correct.
1912, right?
Yeah,
whenever it was going down. People love like, oh, that band, they kept playing all night. And I do think it's nice, and it's like it's moving that they did. Let's do it, lads.
By the way, are we certain that band kept playing, or that's just a movie thing?
I don't know. People have to spin good news out of tragedies and say, see, the human spirit wins out, even though it sometimes doesn't. I would have been I wouldn't have done what Billy what's his name did, Billy Zane, the handsome guy, bad guy. I don't think I would have like held anybody at gunpoint. I don't know if I would have grabbed anybody's baby to try and justify being on one of the lifeboats, but I would have tried to get onto one of the lifeboats instead of playing music. And I hear maybe Cam Heyward a little bit. I think the front office is now trying to draw lines of like, don't put this on me. Are you picking that up? I'm hearing now more and more of the local reporters saying stuff like this is on Tomlin, which is what I have been saying consistently for a couple of years now. Course, because, start to pick up on that.
Well, yeah, because this is what happens, right? Like you typically, if you're a media member, you probably get a tad more access to the front office than you do the coaches. And they're the ones that you're going to text like, hey man, what do you think? And they're going to start they want to save their job too. They see the ship is sinking, and they still want to play their flute and their violin continually. We still have to figure out why Jack just didn't get on that door with Rose. It never made sense. We have no time to worry about that.
Because she's a terrible person. That's why. I mean, I addressed this 20 years ago. This is she's no good.
And she threw why'd she throw the diamond off the ship? Like what
she's a bad person throughout the picture, young or old, especially when she gets decrepit. I mean, first of all, she doesn't let Jack on there. She uses him for everything he's worth. And she's in a loveless situation, and then Leo puts his love on her real good, and she's a changed woman, but not enough to let him ride up on the headboard or whatever ridiculous. It was. But as you point out, that she goes to the back of the ship. Understand, she's not alone. It's not that she's. I forget the guy. Who's the guy? Bill Paxton.
Bill Paxton. Rest in peace. Yeah.
It's right. It's not that he's getting the diamond. It's her caregiver, who I assume is her great niece or something, who has sacrificed her own romantic life to push around this old bag of bones for however many years. And in return, this old bat goes to the back of the ship and throws this priceless jewel away.
Who for a guy?
What's the redhead supposed to think? What are you? I'm going to throw you off the back of this ship, you old bat.
For a guy she knew for 48 hours.
Outrageous behavior. Outrageous.
It's outrageous. I want to ask you something, Dave, because I know it's a pro football discussion, but your Indiana Hoosiers this weekend are doing something that I don't think you ever thought would happen under Indiana football. They're playing in a Big Ten championship game, and they're 12-0. How are the nerves today, buddy, on Monday? How are we feeling?
Well, I mean, I can't say I'm nervous, and we were kind of getting into that, and I wanted to follow up on it with you. I mean, is there any way that the Hoosiers, I guess if they lost by 3 touchdowns to Ohio State, you could make a case for them not being a 1 seed? You think there's no way that could happen?
I think Indiana is the 1 seed if they win. If they lose, they have a bye. Like, they're not dropping out of the top 4.
That's what I'm asking you, right?
Yeah, no. It won't be. It's going to be a touchdown game. I think it's going to be a very close game. And I think that Indiana. I was thinking about this last night. Like, which teams can I really see winning a championship?
That was the question I just asked Zaz 20 minutes ago. So I ask it to you. If it's not Ohio State, who is it?
So Indiana's got to be in that discussion. And look, I know this is going to sound like an Indiana. Something that's disrespectful, but I do believe this though. Like, I don't think they are the most talented team in the country, but they play.
Does anybody?
But they play like a brand of football that just works. But they don't do a lot, Dave. They don't do a lot, and like that's the thing about the offense is like it's not an offense that to me just watching the film that has like multiple schemes. You're like, I gotta stop this. It's just the players are good at what they do. But so that worries me in the postseason when you play 3 games in a row against better defenses. Like, what if you just miss on half of the 50-50 throws outside the numbers? Like, does the offense just crumble down like against Iowa sort of situation, right, where it just wasn't as good? But Oregon has their warts, right? Like, they're not, the SEC feels like a little bit overvalued this year. Georgia has a problem on defense. Bama's inconsistent. Like
2 years running, at least that's the case.
Texas Tech's not winning a championship. So this is why this game I think is important for Indiana, not so much Ohio State. If you beat Ohio State, you are the favorite to win the championship. Like, I think you're absolutely the favorite to win the championship. Now, the 1 seed, again, is probably going to be in a shit spot. You're going to get like Notre Dame like in the second round, which is like, I just hate how this is going to end up working for, I think, right? You'll have the 8-9 game, right? I think that's Notre Dame will be Notre Dame. Like, Notre Dame is really, really good. Like, they would worry me of anything.
Well, of course. I mean, it feels like it's men, the way they just can push you around, although Ohio State kind of did that to Michigan over the weekend as well, so that they just out-physicaled them. But I thought that Oregon was going to lean on the Hoosiers all day up in Eugene, and it was the exact opposite of that. No, I mean, to answer your question, am I nervous? No. I mean, this is all coming off of Thanksgiving. This is gravy now. They went undefeated. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think their quarterback, Fernando Mendoza, is going to win the Heisman Trophy.
It's a great discussion.
I mean, I don't need to see them do anything other than not get embarrassed.
I mean, the Heisman thing is interesting because I think if you think there are like 2 more weeks left, Pavia would win, but there's not. And this game is important for him for the Heisman. Here's the thing too, like he has a Heisman moment, the Penn State throw. Sayan has no Heisman moment. What's his Heisman moment? Throwing to open receivers, throwing to Tate in the snow last weekend.
To the 1 and 2 best receivers in the country. Yeah.
Pavia has all the crazy Pavia stuff he does, but he was really never in the discussion until like 2 weeks ago. So probably it's Mendoza. It feels like a weaker than usual Heisman class.
Agree.
But I think that if Julian Love played well week 1 and didn't get hurt last weekend and didn't play at 12:30 Eastern or 10:30 Eastern on Saturday night, he would be up there. And because he's been, I think Julian Love might be the best player who's been healthy all season because Smith wasn't healthy for Ohio State for a couple games.
I buy that. Yeah.
But Mendoza's probably the best choice for that now. Again, it's not a great year for candidates, I don't think.
Boy, now all of a sudden you have me hearkening back to Oklahoma. What's his name? Jason
White.
Jason White over Larry Fitzgerald. All right, listen, Mike Fuentes is no fun, and he's saying we have to wrap it up, or else I would have gone in. Okay, 1-word answer. Who's going to win the NFC East?
Eagles.
Okay, there he goes. Geoff Schwartz, everybody. Look forward to kibitzing with you sooner rather than later. In the meantime, Geoff Schwartz is smarter than you. Check it out Make yourself smarter. There goes Schwartz, and here we go, too. We'll show ourselves the door until Friday when we try to get you right for the oncoming weekend of more football action. Until then, for everybody, Zaz and Geoff Schwartz especially, thanks so much, my fellow football Americans. It's been a thin slice of heaven.